Hello, and welcome to the Middle-earth Lore and Fantasy channel. Today we're going to discuss, can Elrond fight a Balrog one-on-one and win? In case you're wondering, this is Glamdring. This is Gandalf's sword. It's a mini version of it. I don't actually have the full version because I don't have that much money and I have nowhere to actually put the big sword. But I do have somewhere to put this small mini version of Gandalf's sword. So let's talk about, can Elrond beat a Balrog in one-on-one combat? My answer is actually yes. Now you might be thinking, if you watch Lord of the Rings, well, that Balrog's really powerful. When Legolas saw it, he basically just ran, and only Gandalf could take on the Balrog. And if Legolas can't take on the Balrog with all his fighting prowess, how can Elrond beat it? Well, Elrond is actually a lot more powerful than Legolas. I don't know if he's like a better fighter per se, but with his knowledge of magic and spells and lore, and he's not a bad fighter. If you watch The Hobbit, that part where he's actually with Galadriel and Saruman, he actually fights the evil forces of the Necromancer, which is Sauron, and he helps the others, helps Galadriel repel Sauron, basically. So Elrond's no slouch at fighting either, and he has powerful magic and spells. So he is actually a lot more powerful than Legolas. I think of all the elves in Middle-earth, he is, besides Galadriel, he is probably the most powerful elf in Middle-earth. Maybe Círdan the Shipwright, but I don't really know too much about Círdan's powers right now. I know Galadriel is probably more powerful than Elrond, but Elrond, besides Galadriel, is probably the most powerful elf in Middle-earth. Maybe Celeborn too, but besides Galadriel, probably Elrond. So, can he defeat a Balrog? Like I said, I think the answer is yes, and you have to look at the battles in the First Age to decipher why my answer is yes. Now, Glorfindel, which if you actually read the books, Arwen, or Liv Taylor, wasn't the one to pick up Frodo when he was stabbed by the Morgul blade on Weathertop. In the story, it was actually the elf lord Glorfindel. Now, Glorfindel is actually a reincarnation of the elf lord Glorfindel of the House of the Golden Hair in the First Age. And that Glorfindel fought a Balrog one-on-one, and he slew the Balrog, but he also died in the process. So there is ample evidence that an elven lord, can slay a Balrog. Elrond is definitely qualifies as an elven lord, and I believe he's more powerful than Glorfindel, having both Noldorian and Sindarian blood in him. Noldorian blood through his father Arindale, who is the son of Edril and Tor, who is the daughter of Turgon, who in return is the son of Fingolfin, the High King of the Noldor when they first came in the First Age. And he has Sindarian blood because he's descended through Malin on his mother's side, Elwing, who is the daughter of Dor, I believe, who is the son of Beren and Luthien, who is the daughter of Thingol. So he has both Noldorian and Sindarian blood in him. He is a high elf. He has lived through many battles. He was there. He still remembers the War of Wrath between Morgoth and the host of the Valar, and he was actually a commander in Gil-galad's army in the last alliance of elves and men. So he's seen a lot. He has the power. He has the elven magic and the fighting prowess at his disposal. Now, it's been said that Galadriel in Middle-earth is actually more powerful than both Gandalf and Saruman in their restricted forms. Gandalf and Saruman, when they came to Middle-earth from the Western lands, or Amen, they actually came in restricted forms. They're not allowed to match Sauron with their own power because they are the same level of being. They're both Maiar, or I would call them minor angels. The Valar being major or archangels, I would consider them minor angels. But they're in very restricted forms while they're in Middle-earth, and they're actually not allowed to use their full power to match Sauron's power with theirs, because Gandalf might have been able to match Sauron with his own power. Although that's a whole other discussion, if Gandalf is more powerful than Sauron or not. So, because they're restricted, Galadriel, being one of the high elves, is more powerful than them in Middle-earth. It is said that Galadriel is actually the second most powerful elf ever, if you count the spells and lore and the magic she is capable of. She is second only to Fëanor, who is described as the mightiest of elves in every sense of the word. So Galadriel, I think, is definitely more powerful than Gandalf, and I think she could take a Balrog. But I think Elrond, with his fighting prowess and because of his knowledge and magic and lore, can also win against the Balrog. There are several um, elves in the First Age who have slain Balrogs. Like I said, Glorfindel, he slew a Balrog, but he died in the process. Ecthelion of the Fountain, who slew several Balrogs before going even and dying together with Gothmog, the Lord of Balrogs. I believe Fëanor actually probably slew a few before he was killed as well. And Fingolfin went against Morgoth himself, so I have no doubt in my mind that he could have slain a Balrog. So there are many elven lords back in the First Age who are able to slay Balrogs in one-on-one combat. Elrond's father, Arendelle, is one of the greatest fighters ever. He actually slew the giant dragon and Calagon the Black in the sky in one-on-one combat, and that's how the host of the Valar beat Melkor in the War of Wrath. So based on that, I do believe Elrond has the power, the magic, and the fighting prowess to actually slay the Balrog in one-on-one combat if needed to be. So that is my take on the subject. I do believe Elrond greater than Balrog. Let me know what you think, and put it in the comments if you will. Thank you, and have a nice day, and I will see you next time.